Aliko Dangote, thank you so much for speaking to Bloomberg. You have the refinery, it's opened. How does it feel? It feels like a milestone from the outside. How does it feel for you?
I think it feels really great. It is really a great achievement. It's something that 90% of the entire world did not really give us a chance. Nobody really believed we can pull it off, but we did. And, you know, it is a great satisfaction to me personally as a person and also to the organization. So I think we've done very, very well. You know, and there are quite a lot of things when you look at where we're coming from. You know, Nigeria being an oil-producing country, and we've been importing petroleum products for the last 35 years. It just doesn't make sense.
I mean, from the outside, it looks quite difficult. Any regrets?
I think no regret. I would have said that, yes, maybe a bit of regret if we hadn't succeeded in delivering. But, you know, to tell you the truth, it was a it was a monster. Monster in the sense that, like what I keep telling people, if I knew how difficult it was sort of putting this kind of, you know, edifice, this kind of refinery, I wouldn't have started at all. But, you know, but by the time we realized that it was a very difficult thing, we had already started. So we had no choice than to deliver.
But what's the hardest bit? So you have a relationship with the government, they're getting rid of subsidies, you have to find the crude, you refine it, you sell it back.
I think that is not really only the hardest part. The hardest part, Francine, is delivering the project on its own. We never ever expected the kind of challenges that we face. You know, we launched the project in 2013. And then we had a lot of problems with the state governments. You know, it's not the federal government, you know, because we have 3 tiers of government. So while we bought a land, you know, it was in a state not far away from Lagos, and the guy dribbled us for almost about 3.5 years. And we had to now move the refinery to Lagos. We got to Lagos, we had community issues. So it took us really 5 years to start. Just battling here and there. After we had already taken loans of about 2.4 billion to start, and interest was counting. But then still, you know, we went ahead. Then again, the challenges of building that kind of, you know, project, we realized that, you know, we had to build our own port. We built the port. After building the port, we realized that nobody could supply us with cranes, equipment. So we had to take something that people don't know or they don't realize. What we did now, we now made ourselves as the EPC contractor, which is engineering, procurement, and construction. So we did it on our own. And because we have never, ever handled this kind of project, this kind of project are handled by Saipem, by Bechtel, you know, the big guys. But we took that challenge, and that is why people believe that, no, it will never work.
So the government wants to get rid of subsidies. Will your refinery help with that?
Well, the government, you know, subsidy is a very sensitive issue. If, you know, I believe the problem is not only the subsidy, it is a problem that, you know, once you are subsidizing something, then people will be blotting the numbers, and government will end up paying what they are not supposed to be paying. But this, our refinery, will bring quite a lot of issues out there. You know, it will show the real consumption of Nigeria, because, you know, nobody can tell you. Some people say it's 60 million liters of gasoline per day. Some say, no, it's less. But right now, if you look at it, by us producing, okay, everything can be counted. So everything can be accounted for. And most of the trucks or ships that will come and load from us, we are going to actually, you know, put a tracker on them to be sure they are going to take the oil within Nigeria. And that, I think, can help the government to save quite a lot of money.
So do you think it's the right time to get rid of the subsidies?
I think it is, you know, because all countries have actually gotten rid of subsidies. Let me give you an example. Saudi Arabia used to give what Saudis, the citizens, believe that, look, oil is our own God-given gift. So the government shouldn't charge us for it. So government were selling it at a very low price. But today, as we speak, gasoline is about 40% cheaper in Nigeria than in Saudi Arabia, which I think it doesn't make sense. That is one. Number two, our price of gasoline is about 60% of the price of our neighboring countries. And we have very porous borders. So it is not sustainable. You know, I mean, the amount of subsidies that were paid, government cannot afford those subsidies.
So do you need the government to take away the subsidies for your refinery to be viable?
Well, you see, we have a choice of either when we produce, we export, and when we produce, we sell locally. But we're a private company. And yes, it's true, we have to make a profit. We build something worth $20 billion, so definitely we have to make money. The removal of subsidy is totally dependent on the government, not on us. We cannot change, price. But I think, the government will have to, give up something for something, So I think at the end of the day, the subsidy will have to go. But what we have done now, with the government, which I think I must really thank the President of Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu, very creative idea that, okay, fine, you know what, we will sell you the crude in Naira, you also sell in Naira. So now we're working out for the exchange rate. It's going to be priced, normal pricing, if crude is at $80, Brent, we will pay that price. We'll use an agreed exchange rate, and then we will also sell in the domestic market. What that will do is that it's going to remove 40% pressure on the Naira. So, because you see, the petroleum products consume about 40% of our foreign exchange. So, and then, it's like you have 40% of demand being taken out. So that can actually stabilize the Naira. That's one. Number two, the government will now know, even if they are going to subsidize, they will know what is the real consumption. Because right now, nobody can tell you what you are consuming. It's all guesswork. So that can help in terms of stabilizing the market. That can also help in terms of removing queues, because we have a lot of queues, and these queues are not there today. They've been on and off since 1972, for the last 52 years.
But so what does it mean in dealing with Naira instead of dollar? What does it mean for your group? Is it a benefit, or actually it just gives the government something that they want?
I think really is to give the government something that they want. It's a win-win. You see, because the issue is that, yes, we are Nigerians, and we have to also do something to show that, yes, we do care. And part of caring is to now agree with the government that, okay, fine, let's go ahead and do this with them, because it will be very awkward for somebody like me or our group to come and say that, no, we want to deal in, dollars. I think it's a win-win, and it will benefit the country quite a lot. The whole thing is actually, okay, fine, what do we leave as a legacy? And I think doing this, by even making sure that, yes, we've taken Nigeria out of an oil, petroleum product import country for the first time in the history of Nigeria, is a great milestone, which, I'm very, very proud about.
So how's the relationship with the government? I know there's a number of negotiations, including the price of gasoline. What kind of offering have you made?
I think we have quite a good relationship, today, with the government. And, where the president actually put the Minister of Finance and also Minister of the Coordination of the Economy, and then the Special Advisor Revenue, very smart guy, Zach Adedeji, and they are working out something which I think it will be a win-win between us and the NNPC. If NNPCs, that is Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, if they are refineries, if they start to work, then Nigeria will be one of the biggest exporters of petroleum products in Africa. In Africa, only 2 countries are self-sufficient, which is Algeria and Libya, but all other countries are importers of petroleum products.
So what kind of agreement are you expecting actually with NNPC?
I think the kind of agreement that we're expecting is to have a very robust agreement where, first of all, we have energy security, where there won't be supply.
Where they give you crude.
They will give us crude.
Yeah.
Already we have agreed, like for example, in October, they're going to give us 12 million barrels, which is averagely about 390,000 barrels a day, which will sell both gasoline, diesel, and aviation fuel. And if there's any excess, we'll export. But you know, our refinery is also versatile, where we are producing a lot of things. It's not only these three things that I mentioned. We're also into polypropylene, you know, which is petrochemical, which 80% of it is also to be exported. But 20% is what the demand is in Nigeria, which will also sell to help a lot of plastic industries. So, but with the government, I think the agreement will be that, okay, fine, when we take that one, we will now sell to everybody. So it means that 50% or 60% of our petrol stations that have not been working or they've been out of work, everybody will now be at work. Right. It will reduce the cost of having ships floating all over Lome and, you know, I mean, paying demurrage. Demurrage alone, we're going to save over $1 billion.
But, Aliko, I mean, there seems to be disagreements on how you price your gasoline with NNPC. Have you settled on a price? Can you give us a bit more clarity on what's going on?
Well, okay, what is going on, there was, it wasn't really a disagreement per se. NNPC bought from us this particular one on the 15th of September. At the international price, which they also bought about over 800,000 metric tons of gasoline imported. So the one that they bought from us actually is cheaper than the one they are importing. And so when they announced our price, the guy, I don't know whether he was authorized or not, but it wasn't really the real price. What they have announced, yes, most likely that is what it cost them, including profit, including whatever, you know, which they have never added profit to their cost. And then the other one is one that they imported, but the people don't know how much they spent in terms of the import, but their own importation one is almost maybe about 15–20% more expensive than ours, you know. So what they're supposed to do is to sell at a basket price, or if they want to remove subsidy, they can announce that they've removed subsidy, which is okay. Everybody, you know, will adjust to it. But
you're not worried, Aliko, that some of the oil majors, because of their vast resources, can sell for cheaper?
Well, yes, most likely, you know, because in business, it's, you know, I've said this in my interview before, where I said that I never knew that the oil industry mafia are stronger than the drug cartel. It's a big cartel. You know, I will say this anywhere. The issue is that you are right. They can say, okay, fine, you know, to make sure that this refinery doesn't work, we'll keep selling cheaper. But right now, they won't be able to sell cheaper because they will not be able to take local currency. We will take local currency. We have the refining capacity, not only to satisfy Nigeria, we have refining capacity that is almost twice the consumption of Nigeria.
But you're also confident that you can strike a deal with authorities?
No, we will. We'll definitely strike a deal. The president has announced the...
Soon?
It's going to start 1st of October. You know, so I think between now and the next couple of days, they will come out with a very, very clean agreement.
I mean, it's a pretty big accusation that you say, you know, they're run like a cartel and they could price me out. What's your ideal scenario? So how much of the crude would you refine and sell domestically? Like, if you have a blueprint of the kind of agreement that works for you, for NNPC, and for the government, what does it look like?
Well, that agreement will look quite okay, because we're going to now have a discussion with the government, where we will have the one for the domestic market, which government will not give anybody $1 to go and buy. So people will now, we're going to have like a circular economy, in the sense that all the transactions will remain within Nigeria. You know, bankers, letters of credit, or everything will be in Naira. But the one that we are going to export, we also have our own plans to make sure that, yes, we don't fall in the hands of some of these sharks. You know, we have our own plans, and we are also planning. As they are planning, we are also planning our own, because we have to plan to survive, and I'm sure we'll do so.
Does refining Nigerian crude actually shorten the yields for the refinery?
No, it doesn't shorten the yield. It gives even a very good yield. But, you know, we have to mix different Nigerian one, the WTI, Brazilian, you know, so a couple of this, we have to do that. It depends on what you call the LP model. So if we do that, then we will know which one we'll have in terms of yield. But you know, our refinery also is designed to produce 93% of high-valued things, you know, from polypropylene, gasoline, diesel, aviation fuel, very small naphtha. Naphtha will only have about 36,000 tons. And then the raw materials for carbon black. But the low residue, which is the cheapest product, is less than 7%. So that makes our refinery, you know, to be a very profitable, refinery. But, you know, this is something that you build for a long time. You know, it's not something that you use. If it's question about making money, you look at it, in the last 7 years, if we as a group had taken this money we invested and invested in stocks of Microsoft, in Tesla, in Google, I mean, our worthiness would have been over $100 and something billion.
But you're confident you can make this work. Are you going to invest more in the sector? Why not go upstream?
We know. Well, upstream, you know, we're in also upstream, not big. We have 2 oil blocks, which we have, and we're starting production this October. Yeah. But we want to look at more of the downstream, you know, because in oil you can produce over 6,800 items. You know, so now we're doing polypropylene. Yeah. We're going to double our size in polypropylene. We're going to also do about 500,000 tons of polyethylene. And then, you know, we're also doing, on the other side, a different company, which is also owned by us. We're doing about 3 million tons of urea, so we will also double that. So there is lab benzene, which is raw material for making detergent. And nobody produces that in Africa. So these are the smaller projects which we want to do, and we want to really try and achieve this in the next 2.5 years.
So you wouldn't invest in actually getting the oil out of the ground?
Well, I think I don't want to put too much money there. No. I already have one. If any cheap asset comes around, you know, we can pick it. But is it the intention of our group to make sure that we produce our own raw material? We're not going to do that. We will not target to go and produce 300,000-400,000 barrels per day. We don't have that plan as we speak today.
Aliko, there was confusion. The NNPC was meant to take 20% of the refinery. It's now 7%.
Yes.
What happened?
What happened, I think we agree with them. We gave them a good deal. Well, we said, okay, fine. We structured an agreement. The first agreement was that they're going to pay us $1 billion. The deal was about $2.79 billion. And then the balance of the money, $1 billion, which they paid us about a year and a half ago. And then the balance of the money was split into 2. One portion is that every crude they supply to us 300,000 barrels. Then we'll deduct $2. Yeah. And then up to the time they finish paying that, you know, 1/3. The other 1/3 will come out of their own profit. So what NNPC opted out that, no. It's a little bit confused. I mean, it's a bit of a confusion. They want this agreement to be changed where they want to pay cash. They don't want it that way. So we say, okay, fine. We sign another agreement, you know, canceling the other one. The new agreement that we signed was for them to pay us After 1 year, no interest, nothing. After 1 year, they will pay us the balance of 1.8 billion. Mm-hmm. The month for them to pay was June. And June, they came back to us and said, no, they've changed their minds. They want to remain at 7.2%. So, okay, fine. So we left it. And we own now the rest of the shares. They own 7.2%. Mm-hmm. And we own the balance of the shares. And that's what it is. But I think they made a big mistake. But
it'll stay that way? There's no negotiation or talk?
No, there's no negotiation. The agreement, that one is finished, dead, completed, is 7.2%. That's where we are right now.
And Aliko, why did the offices actually get raided in January?
Well, the issue is that there was nothing, you know. I mean, they came to us and said, okay, fine, they are looking for some documents. I said, what are these documents? No, you are bidding in terms of, you know, foreign exchange. I said, okay, yeah, we have this, but you're asking for 15 years documents. But anyway, we have them. So we sent the people out there to go and take the documents. They said, no, go back. We're going to come to your office. You know, and they before we knew it, you know, they were already in our office. The office really was not raided. They visited the office and they didn't talk to anybody. They did not arrest anybody. They just came and, you know, and left just to register an embarrassment, and that's all. But, you know, the way we run our own organization, and that is why when you look at it, Francine, we're the highest tax-paying corporation in Nigeria. Our company paid in 2023 more taxes than the entire banking industry. And that is why, you know, so whatever that we do, because we know that, yes, we're up there. Yeah. Anybody, whether it's a new government or whatever happens, we're the first port of call. Yeah. So that's why our own behavior has to be 100% clean.
And that's settled. You don't expect, I mean, that's what happened in January, that's done.
Settled, you know, and if any time somebody wants to ask us, okay, fine, what about your own tax, what about this? Fine, we don't have any issue. You know, people really don't understand also what we add to the economy, but in a very short period of time, people will do understand our own contributions to the economy.
Aliko, your fertilizer plant is only, what, 50% of capacity?
It was 50% capacity, but in the last, in the last 1 month or so, we have enough gas. So we have started now running at about 85%. Yep. You know, I hope it will continue. But you know, there is also the gas, which is, they call it OB3. OB3 is a gas pipeline which is bringing gas from the east to the west. Because in the west, they have industries. So that's why the demand is. In the east, the gas is there, but no demand. If they have that, which they promise that they're going to finish in October, then we'll have more gas than we needed. You know, so I think that issue is being resolved, and that is why we are also trying to invest more by putting up another plant to double our fertilizer plant from 3 million to 6 million tons.
So the refinery's built. I know you're the biggest Arsenal, one of the biggest Arsenal fans I know. Do you still want to buy the club?
Francine, I think that time has passed. At the last time when we had this interview, I told you that, yes, as soon as I finish with the refinery, I'm going to try and buy Arsenal. But the issue is that, you know, everything has gone up. And the clubs too, they are all doing very well. Arsenal is doing extremely very well. That time, Arsenal wasn't doing well. I think, you know, I don't have that kind of excess liquidity to go and buy a club for $4 billion, so to speak, and, you know, use it as a promotional something. And, you know, I'd rather do something with the money. What I will do, I will continue to be the biggest fan of Arsenal. I watch their, you know, games every day. Anytime that they are playing, I will watch. So I will remain a major supporter of Arsenal, but I don't think if it makes sense today to buy Arsenal. Do you regret not buying it before? Last time we spoke? Actually, I regret not buying it before, but, you know, my money was more needed in completing my project than buying Arsenal.
So you would have bought it, what, for $2 billion?
I would have bought it for $2 billion, yeah, but you know, I wouldn't have been able to finish my project. You know, so it's either finish your project or go and buy Arsenal. And I think the best decision was for us to now go and complete our refinery, of which a lot of people don't believe it was going to work. You remember you interviewed me about this refinery, and our refinery really has been it has been a discussion point all over the world.
Yes.
Because our capacity is about 1.1% of the entire global refining capacity.
Yeah. Not so without challenges.
Of course.
It's had challenges.
With a lot of challenges, a lot.
But you do it, would you do it all over again?
I wouldn't do this kind of huge refinery project again. You know, you can see, I told somebody, doing this refinery is what actually, gave me my gray hair.
Thank you, Aliko, for your time today.
Thank you so much, Francine. Great seeing you, and I hope we'll see you very soon again.